Good morning, children of God, divine creations, divine marvels. So, wow, God is everything. That's like such the new age like bumper sticker. Like God is everything. And it's actually a really insane, crazy distortion of spiritual truth. Here's why. Here's a few lines from A Course in Miracles. God is in everything I see. Behind every image I have made, the truth remains unchanged. Behind every veil that I have drawn across the face of love, its light remains undimmed. And beyond all my insane wishes, my will is united with the will of my Father. God is still everywhere and in everything forever. And we who are part of him will yet look past all appearances and recognize the truth beyond them all. So, the problem with saying God is everything is that puts one in the crazy position of believing the Holocaust is God, Adolf Hitler's actions are God, genocide, torture, rape, child sexual abuse is God. If everything is God, that means God is like a cruel sadist masochist. Now, it's a step forward to say everything is God as opposed to being like, well, I'm here and God is like up there. Like, right? It bridges the gap between us and God, but it bridges the gap through a lie. So the lie is really simply this, is that what we see isn't God. God lies right behind it. What we see are images that we've projected onto God. And as we look around the world, we can see that a lot of the images are pretty nasty. I don't mean nasty in like they're bad. I mean nasty like they're violent, they're painful, they're not love, right? So part of the thing is people want to get beyond judgment, and that's a good thing. And you can get beyond judgment in a way that's actually harmful. And this is one of them. Like everything's God. Whereas some things are expressions of love and some things aren't. And you don't have to get judgmental in the normal sense of the word to recognize that the behavior of Adolf Hitler was not motivated by love. It was motivated by fear. In fact, the Course in Miracles teaches us how to judge properly. That's the entire essence of the Course, is how to judge. First of all, it teaches us to judge what's real and what's unreal. What's real is God. What's eternal? What's unreal is what isn't God. What isn't eternal? What's illusion? So, the other way it teaches us to judge is that every action of everyone is one of two things. It's either an extension of love or it's a call for help. Now, to say God is everything completely, to say God is everything, you have to say God is also illusion. God is also cruelty. God is also those calls for help, when actually those calls for help are expressions of fear. So, from the point of view of the Course, it's not to say that Adolf Hitler was bad. He was actually calling for help. He was coming from a place of fear. He was coming from a place of separation coming from a place of not love. And that's a call for help. But that isn't God. God is the response to the call for help. So it's so subtle. And yet to believe that, to believe God is everything, puts one in the position to where you have to defend all sorts of insane things. You know, many people on the spiritual path are very critical of people on the religious path because they say, well, you accept one thing, like, for example, the Bible's literally true. So it's like, well, they accept that, and then they have to defend and argue all these things that obviously aren't true. Well, that's the same thing that happens when you say God is everything. It puts you in a position where you have to defend the most absurd, ridiculous things. And the thing is it on a certain level, it can seem like it's true because it's a huge step forward. To say God is everything is a huge step forward to say, from saying I am or everything is separate from God. But it's a huge step forward that carries along some baggage. So it's progress. It's great progress, but it's not the place to end up. The place to end up is God is love. And there are some, so this is where it gets really subtle. So there's nothing that, and this is the other place where people get caught. And I was one of them. And I still do get caught there in some moments. So you can say God is everything so long as you acknowledge that only that which is eternal exists. So God is love. God is life. God is light. And everything that's not that is an illusion and is not God. Why is it not God? Because it doesn't actually even exist. So you're allowed, it's like, okay, you're allowed to say God is everything as long as you acknowledge that everything, anything that isn't eternal doesn't actually exist. Like, in this moment, I can say, like, yes, God is everything because I know Adolf Hitler never existed. She's just an image. Everything that's not eternal is just an image. It's just a dream. But as long as you believe that any of the things that you perceive with any of the senses actually exist, then you're not allowed to say God is everything. Well, you're allowed to, but you'll be wrong. Thanks so much for joining in.